The Chariotto.
In the clutches of chaos, you're going to play Pandemic, but in Arkham. So in this one's probably the weirdest scenario that they've ever made for this game.
Yep.
And it doesn't really feel too much like Arkham Horror the card game, which is not bad. Like, I'm not saying that as a bad thing. But it is... basically, you're playing Pandemic. If you don't know what Pandemic is, diseases spread across the world, but this time they're gate breaches. And they also... In this one, they feel very, like, what are they, right? Like, they're gates, but you don't really, like... You can tell it's just a mechanic as opposed to...
a thematic thing.
They'll spread if there's too many on a location to adjacent locations, and the map is built that there is a central location that splits to 4, then, like, 3, then 2, then 1. And they'll spread quickly, and each location has a unique way of removing breaches from their location. If you don't do that... you will fall behind and lose.
The game.
I mean, like, that's also, like, the only way you can advance, too.
Exactly.
So...
And, like, while you're also doing breaches, any breach you remove gets put onto the scenario card. You can spend 3 to spawn a clue at a random location.
Yeah, and then you use the clues for things.
There's going to be a lot of cleanup, but you also got to advance the game, which is where the difficulty and the fun of it kind of lies. But I think, for me, personally, the theme on this one is pretty low. Because...
yeah.
It doesn't feel like anything's happening other than that I'm playing a game, right? Like, this is the one where I most feel like I'm playing a tabletop game.
Yeah, so it feels more like a game than a story.
Yes. But I think the fun and difficulty is benefited from this, but the theme, for me, is quite low.
I think if they had taken the time to set up the theme as being something like more concrete, it could be better. Like, it does a very good job of feeling like you're running around trying to patch holes in reality.
Yeah.
And, like, scrambling to do it while also trying to advance your own objective. But, like, it just, they don't explain what that is, or, like, they don't really explain, like, the flavor behind what you're doing, and it's just...
And this is the one where you also then, you get to the cosmic side where Azathoth is here partying with you. And I feel like if they spent one more scenario setting up that this was happening, it might make a bit more sense.
Yeah.
Because you just have that at the end of the last one. By the way, in Union and Disillusion, we forgot to mention that the characters from the Disappearance of the Twilight Lodge show up. That just show how impactful it was to us.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, the second time, nobody lived because we just random resulted everything.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, that happens.
The first time, one of them lived, but we never saw, like...
Yeah, never drew.
We never drew him again.
Yes,
so
yeah.
Like, as much as it pains me to say this, the campaign as a whole, I think would do better if they, like, squeezed out the secret name. Because that one just doesn't
that's
really...
the rat one.
Yeah, I know, but, like, it just doesn't... That's why I say it pains me. Like, I think it's the best scenario of the bunch, probably, but, like, it's also doesn't contribute anything to the story, really.
It'd be a good standalone.
Yeah.
Especially because then you
and
get
they just, like,
of...
squeeze another one in here.
Yeah.
But this one does end on, like, a hell of a cliffhanger, though.
It does, yeah. Like,
we finished this one, and we were, like, hyped to go to the next one.
For the story, this is where things get, like, yes!
Yeah.
Another note is that depending on who you sided with in Union and Disillusion, you'll either have your final boss be Carl Sanford, may he die in a horrible death, and Annette Mason is the other one. In addition, it also will switch a cool little small little thing is that the Silver Twilight Lodge and Hangman's Hill will be switched depending on who you're with.
Yeah, Shroud and Mystery, if that's, like, the useless one, if you're doing the Silver Twilight Lodge ending. And then... yeah, where it all ends if you're doing the witch ending. And then the same thing for the Twilight Lodge.
Why don't you show off the big bosses, too? Because we've never really seen them. This one is very hard, by the way.
Yeah, this one feels a little bit more like Eldritch Horror, where you're doing all right.
I think they're in the back of the...
And then...
oh, yeah, there. Wow, we just, like,
really
completely shit the bed on these. I've never seen these before.
Travis is like,
nothing's okay.
What final
and
boss?
you have one doom left to go, and there's 3 breaches everywhere, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. It's
very difficult.
That's Annette Mason.
And then, what's her picture, too? Oh, yeah, she's...
It's, like, kind of bad.
And the Carl Sanford's just the Carl Sanford.
He looks like fucking Zeus.
Yeah, that's the Arkham Horror 3rd Edition Carl Sanford. Not how I picture him in my head, to be honest. He doesn't have a beard in my head. So, not my Carl
To me,
Sanford.
he looks like a bearded Charlie Kane, actually. He's got, like, that bigger frame.
Okay.
Talks with a real deep voice.
That's how he's in your head?
Yeah.
In mine, he's a slender motherfucker who's, like, you just hate him when you look at him.
I was like, he's the Sotage. He doesn't get out and exercise or anything. He's like a big burly politician.
So, like, there's a lot of cool things happening in this, but I feel like the theme is still, it's like spaghetti.
Just
it's
not there.
They're throwing it everywhere.
You throw spaghetti everywhere?
Oh, I'm Italian. Trust me, that's how you do it. I'd probably give this a 2, but I would go down to a 1.5 for theme for this one if anyone wanted to convince me. If anyone...
No, I'm pretty comfortable with the 2. Like I said, it does do the patching holes in reality. You feel very rushed. You feel frantic.
Well,
something bad's gonna happen.
You don't for like the first 3 turns. You're just like, this is easy.
Yeah.
And then you start being like, okay, but we have to pick up clues here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to do that part of the game.
Yeah, no, like it does do a good job of just like making you feel rushed though, and
Yes.
like, but that's like all it does well.
Yeah.
So.
What do you think, Bren?
No, it does tend to just kill you out of nowhere.
That and the
I feel
epilogue.
like it does, and to me that's a very Arkham Horror thing to do.
Yeah.
Not 2nd edition, mind you, that didn't happen.
No. Is it fun?
Like, kinda.
Kinda.
Like, so one thing this does have going for it is there aren't a ton of situations where you feel like we can't do anything. Like, you can be like, I can go to this location, I can throw away a bunch of cards. Like, I really want to keep these cards, but like, maybe that's a sacrifice I have to make. But like, on the other hand, occasionally you're in situations where you're just like, well, we're just hoping we don't flip those ones.
Yeah. And then also on that note, 2 things that I noticed in the last playthrough is it doesn't really let you play Arkham Horror the card game.
No, you're playing this scenarios.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
And also, like, sometimes your turns are written out for you just by the Mythos phase. You're like,
Yep.
I was going to do this, but now I have to do this,
I'm
right?
going to go mill myself for 10 and then discard my hand.
Yeah. Which does bring it down a bit.
I don't think that's inherently a bad thing,
I don't think so either.
as long as it's not a consistent thing, but like, it's just, it doesn't do it great. It doesn't like, it's not like the Yithian one where like they're like, you're playing our game, but you're like, man, this is cool.
Yeah, fucking Yithian.
I hate that one. They take all your cool items away from you.
I pick green. I have high foot and cool items.
We're all going to lose a bunch of shit when we go back there for our mono green run.
Oh yeah.
I'd probably give it
I give this one like a 1.5 too.
I don't know. I'd give this one a 3, I think. At least like if you're not having fun, it'll be over quick.
I was more on a 3 because there is like that chaos, which I do like, but I also like, I'd probably settle on a 2.5 for what we're going to put for our final score. Even I think a 2, but...
This is an average fun one?
Yeah.
Okay.
But not because of Arkham Horror the card game, because of the pandemic that you play during this.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Difficulty, I think this one's incredibly hard.
Yeah, this one's like a 4.
Yeah.
Maybe 4.5.
Yeah. It's not like, you know what, we've had about as much success with this one than we've had with the Shattered. It's not as hard as the Shattered Aeons, but like it's.
I've never seen the ending of this one.
Like this one.
We haven't flipped the first agenda act.
This one isn't like just like blatantly hard. It's
Yeah.
just like randomly hard.
Yes, that's I think why we can't give it a 5. I think so.
Yeah. Like I'm sure that some people have played this and they're like, oh yeah, we just breeze through it.
Yeah. So I want to give it a 4 or 4.5. Just because that's what our success rate.
That's what I think.
What do you
4.5 is pretty free.
Like I've never seen any of the parts of this one that aren't the.
I didn't know there were big bosses.
Everybody resigned.
That's the back one.
Yeah.
So 4.5. I think Travis is also 100% right that this one, some people just might have the easiest time because it's random, right?
I give this one like a 2.
I also think 2 is about where I am
That's all right.
because we never got to enjoy it. I've never enjoyed this scenario in terms of like.
Yeah. I think part of it might be we like need to adjust our play style to something more sleek too.
Yeah.
Like I definitely think with like we tend to be kind of set in our deck building styles and our play styles, and that like we have like sort of core cards that we want to get out and play, as opposed to like building a deck that can like do things and then like you kind of build up your engine over time.
It's probably like when I did that Silas deck, which was just all skills because he could just do things. That would probably be a good one for that one.
That's like the other end of the spectrum for this.
Yeah. I am excited to give this one another shot to maybe do better, like maybe spawn the boss. But
like it all.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
I will say though that from a design standpoint, it's really cool that the designer tried something like this. I just think overall where it's sat in this, I think it would have been a cooler standalone encounter because he could have explored it more with more cards.
I feel like we could have been a little less harsh on it too if it was part of like a campaign that we enjoyed more overall.
I think so as well. Yeah. But I think that becomes in the fact that it feels kind of like it sticks out from it. If we remove the secret name and had another thing setting up Azathoth, it'd be a little better. But yeah, standalone.
This one's dirt. Go play Pandemic instead.
Yeah. It'll be a lot cheaper to just buy a copy of Pandemic if you want to play Pandemic.
Yeah.
The next one, we're going to go on Azathoth's Party Bus.
Yeah. The Epilogue Fist one is killer, though.
Yes. Yeah, this sets up to a really good... You'll see the next one. We'll talk about it then. Bye.